Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the least important recording projects ever. Oh, yeah. And boy, is this one an absolutely iconic tribute to insignificance. And I never thought I would see the day when I'd be saying that complete non-happening of epic irrelevance is a Mahler cycle. And it's Lauren Maazel's third Mahler cycle, actually, with the Philharmonia. See, he's up right side up, and the Philharmonia here is sideways. Isn't that clever? Yeah, okay, so let's talk tachlis here. He's done three Mahler cycles. The first was on Sony with the Vienna Philharmonic, and it had a couple good things in it. It had a really good fourth with Kathleen Battle, and a pretty good sixth, actually, and the rest of it was basically forgettable. The second had moments. I think Jesse Norman was singing in one of those, so that was okay. But, nobody buys Mahler 2 for the soprano, or some people will, I guess, but they're crazy. And the rest of it was forgettable. So that was Sony. Then he redid them as digital downloads for the New York Philharmonic, which I never really heard. I mean, I heard bits, and I didn't care. So I never paid attention to it. And then this joyous thing popped up, and it looks like, well, let me get my magnifying glass here. And yes, 2017. I guess, it was issued because it existed. His Mahler was so weird. And in 2017, he was getting toward the end of his career and the end of his life, and things were getting slower and slower, and they were slow and weird anyway. Remember on that the initial Mahler third on that Sony cycle, which took like days. It was like Chelabadaki does Mahler. It was crazy. Well, here he's at it again with some excruciatingly slow tempos. I mean, I can tell you what they are, and we can just take a look, because I listening to this was such a chore. Oh, what a punishment! All right, so Symphony number 1. All right, that's not too bad. That's kind of normal. Number 2, 25-minute long first movement. You think it's never going to end. 38-minute long finale. You think it's never going to end. It's a punishment. The scherzo is 12 minutes. Okay. Symphony number 3, first movement. Usually it lasts around, between 32 and 34 minutes or so. This is 37. Now, again, I always say this. You have to be a little careful when you talk about tempi, because often internal contrast is more important than absolute speed. But if there is no internal contrast, or it all sounds equally snoozy, then it doesn't make any difference. And here it is all equally snoozy. I mean, the scherzo is 17 minutes. That is definitely on the slow side, although Levine, I think, took 18 with Chicago. But the rest of his performance was kind of normal. 26-minute finale. That's pushing it. I mean, Bernstein got away with it in his second recording of the third, but it's brutal. It's just brutal. Fourth Symphony. Okay, that's pretty normal. It's kind of like his Vienna recording of the Fourth Symphony, except for a first movement, which really does sort of hang fire. And it always did, because, there was an extra version of the fourth. In addition to the 3 cyclical, the ones he did with cycles, there was a non-such one with Heather Harper and Berlin Radio, and it was horrible. I know some of you people have said, oh, Laura Maazel did a fourth with Heather Harper, and I liked it. Well, go ahead, go like it. It sucked. Absolutely sucked. And then we've got the Fifth Symphony, which has a rather droopy opening funeral march and a really slow scherzo over 18 minutes. That's killing it. An 11-minute adagietto and a 16-minute finale. Ugh. Yeah, no. Number 6, 25-minute long first movement. Oh my goodness, much slower than in Vienna. The scherzo and the andante are okay, and he does take the scherzo second, so good for him. The finale is 32 minutes, which is a bit of a push, but not ridiculous. His seventh was always weird. Just weird. The proportions are weird. A 26-minute long first movement, that's like Klemperer, and a 20-minute finale. It's a torment. It really is. The eighth, his eighth was always slow and droopy, and this one is quite slow and droopy. I mean, the performance lasts. Let me see. CD 12, CD 13, and they add it up for us. See, the 87 minutes for the seventh. 87 minutes. 87 minutes. 98 minutes for the eighth. Holy cow, the second movement, you think you're going to die. Oh my goodness, you want Faust to just like do whatever he's going to do and get on with it. And then the ninth. This ninth is, big, long, crazy, stretched out ninths were a thing in the past few years, because you may remember that James Levine was doing it sort of toward the end of his life, and it was endless. And this is even more endless. 35 minutes and 48 seconds for the first movement. It's brutal. And a half hour for the finale. So it's 95 minutes for the Ninth Symphony. I mean, life is too short for this stuff. It really is. It's not just the question of it being slow. It's just slow and weird and expressionless, and the players sound like they're having a horrifying time sometimes. I mean, it's just demented. And Maazel was like that. He was such a technically finished conductor. He was remarkable technically. He really was. He never missed a cue. Of course, at these tempos, you could have done it without missing a cue. But his interpretations were so reptilian. I mean, strangely cold and odd, with proportions that were peculiar. And he could be marvelous. Of course, he could be. But often as not, he was just strange. I don't know how else to describe him, but that's what he was. And this Mahler cycle is as completely unnecessary and irrelevant and unimportant as any recording ever made. And the fact that it's a Mahler cycle, I mean, it should be an epic event. Epic! An epic event! Oh, no. One of the least important recording projects ever! I mean, I'm not even talking about inner detail and all the other things we could talk about in these performances. We're just, this is one of those moments where the timings kind of say it all, because it's just a punishment. It really is. It's a penance, and no one needs it. There's plenty of good Mahler out there, isn't there? Really good Mahler. We don't need like weird, bizarre, freaky, crazy Mahler. So there you go, friends. Keep on listening. Take care.